On today's episode of Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes, a second man has been charged in torching the Minneapolis Police Department. The police in Atlanta are offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of a woman who was seen on camera lighting a fire or contributing to a fire that burned down a Wendy's. And now we have exclusive footage of the man who got shot in New Mexico. And I don't know how much I can show, but when you approach a man with a skateboard and attack him while someone yells something about killing another person, don't be surprised when that person draws their weapons and takes aim at you. In today's episode, we get started with Reuters. Second man charged with torching Minneapolis police station during protests. They say a 22-year-old Minnesota man was charged on Tuesday with aiding and abetting the arson of a Minneapolis police station during protests over the death of George Floyd. Dylan Robinson, who was arrested in Breckenridge, Colorado on Sunday, is accused of hurling a Molotov cocktail inside the 3rd Precinct Police Station in Minneapolis and igniting a fire in the building's stairwell on May 28th, according to the criminal complaint. Robinson appeared in U.S. District Court in Denver on Tuesday to hear the charges against him. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Minnesota said in a written statement, prosecutors said he is from Brainerd, Minnesota. Robinson is the second man arrested June 3rd in connection with the blaze. Brandon Wolf, 23, was arrested in Minnesota and charged with 1 count of aiding and abetting arson, prosecutors said. The police station was set on fire during the demonstrations 3 days after the killing of George Floyd. The incident was captured by a bystander's cell phone video and led to the firing of Chauvin. We know all this. Authorities said they identified Robinson from social media posts and surveillance cameras. Agents with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms tracked him to Breckenridge, Colorado, a mountain town about 80 miles west of Denver, where he was taken into custody according to an arrest warrant affidavit. Robinson is due back in Denver federal court on Friday for a detention and removal hearing, a spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Denver told Reuters. Amazing. This man's from, what I believe he's from Minnesota, they said. They believe that he was from Minnesota, and he made his way to Breckenridge. They will track you down. They will find you, and you will be charged and arrested. Now, there's a lot of bad things about the surveillance state, and admittedly, this isn't one of them, but it is still scary. They have pictures of you. They have your phone records. They have your GPS records. They will find you. If you go to a small mountain town, you're not going to get away with the things you engage in. I find it fascinating that these people who are being arrested are in their early 20s. These are young, dumb people who don't know how the world works, and they're basically LARPing, live action role play. Well, I'll tell you what, justice will come for you. I understand the frustration and the anger towards the police, but what you have to understand is that we need proportional responses. If the police have consistently gotten away with certain things, if they're not being held to account, burning down one police station does literally nothing but empower them. So you know what? That's why we have justice. And I have warned many of these far leftists. As I stated in my main channel video, if you didn't see it, go to timcast.net, check it out. The more the far left does this, the stronger the state becomes. They love it. The cops love it when you do this stuff. You know why? They turn around and say, see, this is why we need all of these weapons. This is why we need to have body armor and high-powered rifles and armored personnel carriers, because these crazy people will burn down a police station. You know what? It's not entirely wrong, but it shouldn't be this way. We shouldn't be rapidly escalating the use of force and the armaments of our police, but here you go. Tweedledee and Tweedledum show up saying, I'm mad at cops because I saw a video on Facebook. Well, now you can spend the rest of your lives in prison. But there may be some room in that prison for another woman. Police search for instigators who started Wendy's fire after Rayshard Brooks shooting. Channel 2 Action News, sounds a bit like Ron Burgundy, obtained new video of a woman who police say is responsible for starting a fire that torched a Wendy's restaurant just hours after a deadly police shooting there. The fire destroyed the fast food restaurant off University Avenue, where 27-year-old Rayshard Brooks was shot and killed by an Atlanta officer. The investigation into his death is ongoing. The Atlanta Police Foundation says a lot of tips have come into Crime Stoppers Atlanta after they posted a $10,000 reward for her arrest. Listen, if they can't track you down using surveillance means, they can do the next best thing. $10,000 to anybody who can provide information leading to her arrest. And you know what? There's going to be a lot of people who want that sweet, juicy 10K. I'll tell you what. A lot of tips have come in. People want the money. A Channel 2 viewer recorded the video on Saturday night. It clearly shows a white woman in shorts with a ponytail spraying something into the flames at the restaurant. She smiles and nods and walks away from the restaurant as flames spread. Atlanta police shared a second video of the same woman on their Twitter account, and still photos of a second woman dressed in black with an aerosol can. You know what the left tried doing? They argued that this was actually just someone trying to put the fire out by pouring water on it. And then the police released photos where you can see her cheering, raising her fist, and carrying an aerosol can. At least we believe that to be her. Atlanta police says they're offering $10,000 reward for information on the individuals responsible for starting a fire that led to the destruction of a Wendy's restaurant at 125 University Avenue. Dave Wilkinson is the president of the Atlanta Police Foundation and a former Secret Service agent. He says it's clear police are searching for a small number of people who came with different intentions than peaceful protests. We're talking about individuals that are literally throwing Molotov cocktails, the folks that are setting businesses on fire. It appears their intention for being there is to destroy property, wreak havoc, and create violence. There's no question when you see that video of the suspects, they certainly look different. They certainly dress differently. Atlanta police say the department made 36 arrests on Saturday night and just 6 on Sunday. Wilkinson also warned of morale at an all-time low for the police department. Now, the next story I have for you, and I will wrap these up because the point with these stories is that law enforcement will come for you. Consider this, as usual, an addendum to the main segment I did on my main channel. The police will find you. They may not arrest you on the spot, but this is what the police do, okay? Some people complain that when you're in the middle of a conflict, a crime is being committed, the cops can't get there in time, and that's true. Now, for me, strangely enough, I was being mugged once, and the cops came out of nowhere and stopped the mugging. I was saved by several police. It happens. It really does. But they can't always be there. It's just not possible. So you have them patrol, or you have them follow up. In this instance, we have 2 people, Tweedledee and Tweedledum in Minnesota, now probably going to spend years in prison. Maybe they'll get probation. We'll see. But torching a police department, I have to imagine, is pretty serious. Now, I can't say the same for the next person. Maybe this woman is going to be, captured, arrested. Someone will make some quick cash. But I can't say the same for the next person. See, in New Mexico, a man shoots and critically injures a protester who attacked him with a skateboard as violence broke out during a bid to tear down Spanish conquistador statue in New Mexico. Now, I've talked about this. I covered this when it happened the other day. But we now have exclusive footage. Now, I'm not going to show you the man on the ground, but I'm going to show you the moments during the scuffle. YouTube may not be too happy with it, but I'm going to scroll down, and these images were published by the Daily Mail because there's important context here. In the video, you can hear what appears to be someone yell something along the lines of "going to kill you." I don't know if he says he's going to kill you, I'm going to kill you, we're going to kill you, but it does sound like he's saying he's going to kill you. I believe this man who's yelling is warning these Antifa black-clad individuals as the 3 of them, you can see, pile on this man in a blue shirt. This man in a blue shirt, as I mentioned in my main segment, isn't a militia member, not a cop. He's just someone who is showing up to give you your stupid prize. Now, in this photo, you can clearly see there's something in this Antifa far lefty's hand. We don't know what it is. Many people have said it was a knife. Some people believe he was actually carrying 2 knives. I don't know. Nobody does. Well, maybe the people who are there, the cops, might know what they recovered, but we'll see what happens. You can see him drawing his weapon, taking aim. This man being shot is not the same man who was initially attacking the man in the blue shirt. You can see the green backpack. So I got to say, you know what, man? The guy on the left here in this image, who's got his arms up, is holding some kind of item and is facing down the barrel of a gun, ran up after they were beating on this guy, grabbed the skateboard from the other guy, and took some swings at the man in the blue shirt. The man in the blue shirt drew his weapon, pointed it at whatever he saw, and he fired, I believe, 4 rounds, critically injuring. Critically. The man in black falls over. The civil guard, the militia members, are actually the ones they render aid to this man and detain the man in blue. So let's leave them out of this. Surprisingly, they had nothing to do with it, it would seem. But I'll tell you what, guys. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I know it's a funny thing to say. I know a lot of people hear that and they chuckle, but I want you to think about what that really means. I've been to some of these countries. I have seen people enter into situations where they know not what they bring. They know not what they create or what they foment. Some people want revolution. Some people are playing stupid games and have no idea what's happening in the world around them or what it really means to call for what you're calling for. These left-wing revolutionaries that would burn down a police station or attack a random guy in a street are now going to learn a hard lesson in real life. But you know what lesson I hope we never get to learn? And unfortunately, they will hopefully never learn? What happens when you get your revolution? You want to know what happens if these people actually knocked out the police departments or the federal government? They would cry themselves to sleep every night huddled in the corner of their burnt down home as roving bands of vigilantes and violent gangs steal and murder and kidnap. Man, I'll tell you what, in Austin, Texas, it's really funny to see these small women engaging in these acts as well. Like the woman in Berkeley. I'm not going to bring up her name or anything, but there's a small woman who engaged in overt acts of violence, went viral for it. These small women don't realize what will happen without this government. I'd like to tell you some of the horror stories that exist in lawless states, but I honestly don't think I can because the video would probably be banned, and I'm not exaggerating. There are some things where criminals take vehicles. They call it let's just phrase it this way. All right. Abuse safaris. I'll frame it that way. You can try to infer what that means in lawless areas. I've worked on stories with sources trying to figure out who these groups of criminals, kidnappers, who engage in these safaris, who they are, what the story is. And there was an effort by some journalists to try and infiltrate these groups because you can pay them large sums of money to take you into lawless areas where they collectively abuse women. I'll put it that way. You don't want to know what life is like when there are no police. You don't want to live in the Wild West. You don't want to read the stories about what life was like for people before we had the security and the police that we do today. But you know what? Hopefully they never have to learn. Hopefully they don't. But maybe they will, and it will be their own undoing. Go to some of these countries, man. These kids really need to see a wake-up call, but I'll leave it there. The cops will get you, and if they don't, and you engage in this, you might find yourself in a hospital. Stick around. I got a couple more segments coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.